Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a beautiful day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for all you do to support this channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. And I want to shout out ballet dancer, Miss C. Johnson, Blessed Dove, Child of the Sun, in case you didn't know, Brett Johnson, Pat Reeves, and Brother Dre. Thank you so much for your support and thank you for your comments because they are very inspiring. And sometimes I do make videos from your comments. They are that good. And somebody asked me to address Tasha K saying that FBA was compared to the KKK, that it was divisive. And that gave me the opportunity to talk about FBA, and that's what I'm going to do in this video. First, we need to be clear on who Tasha K is.
My grandfather is Bahamian.
So her grandfather is Bahamian from the Bahamas, and she's married to an African. So that gives her a different perspective on FBA than many of us. So we will give her that. She has a different perspective. Tasha K recently made comments comparing FBA, Foundational Black Americans, to the KKK. She also said FBA is meant to divide, and she listed a handful of problematic black men online as her evidence. And I'm going to tell you exactly why that framing is dishonest, historically wrong, and intentionally misleading.
An African booty scratcher. They said that I cannot speak on the foundational Black American movement because I'm married to a booty scratcher. Which they're entitled to their opinion. That's fine. That's totally fine. But here's what I think about the FBA movement and any other movement that has to do with Young Pharaoh, Brother Polite, Dr. Umar Johnson. All of these movements that y'all look up to, all these men, okay, that I guess guide you to help elevate your consciousness in these movies. Even Tariq Nasheed, ain't his wife like half white or something? Ain't Tariq Nasheed wife like half white? But here's what I would say about the FBA movement. It's no different than the KKK. Meant to divide, meant to separate you, to isolate you, to have you looking at other races that look like you and hating them for no reason. That is the same foundation and principles that the Ku Klux Klan build themselves on, which is protecting their whiteness, their pureness.
So I wanted you to hear it for yourself. This is what she said. This is Tasha K now saying this about FBA as if she hasn't made a career out of denigrating and tearing down Black American celebrities and Cardi B, lying on her to the point that Cardi B took her to court and won a $4 million judgment against her, which she has not paid. This is who she is. So first things first. FBA is a lineage. It's not a club. It is not a fan base. It is not a group of influencers. It is not defined by men who behave badly online. FBA simply means you descend from Black Americans who were enslaved in the United States. That's all it means. That is the entire definition of FBA. And I do listen to some of Tariq Nasheed's commentary because he is very knowledgeable about Black American history and culture. Now, he does a lot of roasting and playing the dozen and a lot of raw talk that I just can't take. But he does make it clear that he is not the leader of FBA. In fact, I think the concept came from Dr. Claude Anderson, but Tariq popularized it because he does have a big platform. And so it took off because he talked about it, he talked about the history of it, and he gave a reason for the existence of it. It's because of our lineage. It's because of slavery. It's because of Jim Crow. It's because of everything that we have been through in this country as an ethnic group. And it started with slavery. So that's all it means. And I don't see how it's harmful, and I don't see how that's divisive. Now, are there mean people who are in our ethnic group? Yes. Are there petty people who are in our ethnic group? Yes. Are there divisive people in our ethnic group? Yes. Just like it is in all other ethnic groups. But does that negate what FBA is? No, it doesn't. FBA still remains a lineage. The things that make FBA a lineage happened before the men she listed were born. So let's just take these men that she doesn't like out of the mix and talk about the lineage. And I also recognize ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery, as a lineage. So they both are okay with me. I'm not mad at anybody. But FBA is a historical lineage tied to American chattel slavery, the civil rights movement, Jim Crow resistance, and the cultural foundation of Black America. So when someone tries to define FBA by pointing at a few loud men on YouTube or TikTok, that's not analysis, that's manipulation. Now let's address the KKK comparison. The Ku Klux Klan is a white supremacist terrorist organization responsible for lynchings, murder, racial terror, and generational trauma inflicted on Black Americans, including the ancestors of FBA people. To compare a Black lineage to the KKK is not only historically inaccurate, it's disrespectful to the very people who survived the KKK. It's inflammatory, it's irresponsible, and it's the kind of rhetoric people use when they want to delegitimize Black American identity. See, it is upsetting to non-FBA Black people when Black Americans draw that line and say, this is the boundary, this is who we are, and this is why we are Americans. People hate that because it excludes them. Tasha K has been leeching off of Black American culture for years, and now there's a boundary, and she doesn't like it. She says her grandfather is from the Bahamas and her husband is African, but she's not making her content off of them. She's making her content off of Black American culture, and even though Cardi B is not of our lineage, she's making her money off of our culture too. So we have to look at how these people are making their money. As for the men she named, some of them are problematic. Some of them are misogynistic. Some of them are chaotic, and some of them absolutely harm Black women. I'm not defending them. I'm not excusing them, and I'm not pretending they don't exist. But those men do not represent 40 plus million Black American descendants of U.S. slavery. They are individuals, and we have to separate the behavior of the individuals from the identity of the people. Tasha K has a long history of aligning herself with immigrant perspectives, but we haven't really looked at her as an immigrant. We have looked at her as a Black woman. But FBA forces you to look at her lineage, and when you look at her lineage, you see that she is an immigrant and that she takes the immigrant perspective of things. And she has made comments that echo a pattern we've seen online, a pattern where some Black immigrants publicly disrespect Black Americans. Not all, not most, but some, and that pattern is real. It comes from misunderstanding the U.S. racial history. It comes from imported stereotypes they have about Black Americans, stereotypes that they bring here with them, and white folk don't make them think these things. They think these things on their own. And then it also comes from resentment toward FBA lineage claims, and they can't stand that, and that's why we have to stand on it, because everything I've said before is true. And they have a resentment because we are the foundation of this country. And so there is a documented pattern of disrespect toward Black Americans coming from certain corners of the immigrant community online, and Tasha K is one of them. I did not know that she was of Bahamian descent, but I think that that is something very telling about her. And just as a sidebar, just like it's a lot of black women who don't like those black men that she named, there are also a lot of black women that don't like her. Because you know that I'm on social media all the time. And there are black women who don't like her because when she kept talking about Cardi B, I believe that Cardi B sent her a cease and desist letter. And she kept on talking about it, kept on making fun of Cardi B, and she was lying on her. And that is why she got a $4 million judgment against her for spreading lies about Cardi B. So I think that ought to be put on her resume too. Black Americans defining our lineage is not divisive, it's clarifying. What's divisive is when people who are not part of that lineage try to redefine it, erase it, or smear it because they can't leech off of it. So I'll end this video by saying that Black Americans have a right to define ourselves, and you have to consider who Tasha K is. Her credibility is already compromised by her legal history of lying on somebody for money. Okay, y'all, that's all I have to say about it. Have a good evening.